Justice with Judge Mablean will be life, because in everything we do, it involves the law.
You came to court to testify about what you heard, what you saw, and what you know.
She's fair.
I don't have a hearing problem. This ear works good. This one works even better.
She's firm.
I'm not responsible for their ticket, and I'm not going to pay for it.
Who says you're not going to pay for it? I make that decision, not you.
She's honest.
What you have to say?
All I have to
Nothing.
say.
This is Justice with Judge Mablean. Megan Garner is suing her ex, Leela Kieran, in the amount of $4,840. Ms. Garner claims she made payments for rent and utility bills on Ms. Kieran's behalf, but says the defendant refuses to pay her back. Ms. Kieran claims Ms. Garner agreed to cover her household expenses during the time it took her to secure viable employment, so she doesn't have to pay the plaintiff back.
In the matter of Megan Garner versus Leila Karen. All right, you're here suing Miss Karen because you want her to pay for utility bills and part of the rent, etc., that you've been paying to the tune of $4,840. Wow. And Miss Karen, you said, nope, you told me that you'd take care of me until I became gainfully employed. Tell me about it.
Well, Your Honor, Layla and I met about 5 years ago. We met through a mutual friend at a wedding, and from there we dated for about 2 years. She became my best friend, legitimately my backbone. We spent a lot of time together, and during that time I was offered a promotion at the airline that I work for. But that promotion was going to take me all the way to Washington, D.C. So I was on the fence about it, couldn't decide if it was a good idea or not, so I sat down with Layla. We talked about it, and she really supported it. She told me that I should go for it. So I did. I moved to Washington, D.C., and we decided to do the long-distance relationship for that time. I tried to travel back and forth because I fly free through the airline. I spent as much time with her as possible, but it still put a serious strain on our relationship. So I insisted that she come down to D.C. and live with me. She was nervous about coming down and finding a job. But I knew that with her background, she could definitely do it. She moved down to D.C. with me. The first couple of months, she did get odd jobs, a couple of strands of odd jobs. She was fired from multiple jobs.
Your Honor, the agreement...
No. Hold on. I'm going to ask the questions. Did she have a job here?
Yes, ma'am, she did have a job
So
here.
she had to quit her job here to move to D.C. with you?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
Because you couldn't see living without her?
No, ma'am.
What was going to happen while she's looking for employment?
We discussed that I would support her while she looked for a job here in D.C. We didn't put a time on it at all, but I did take care of her. Financially, entertainment-wise, everything was taken care of by me with no complaints.
So now what's the problem?
That is the problem.
What is the problem?
The problem is that I supported her financially for almost a year and a half with no complaints, and she got really complacent. She stopped looking for jobs after a while. It got to the point where she was just at home under the covers.
No timetable, no conditions.
I felt like in a relationship...
When she convinced you to come, what was the promise?
The promise was that until I found a viable job, viable being her term, steady income, being able to contribute to the household, that I would be able to live with her. Now, it was very broad. She did not specifically say free rent, free utilities, let you get your hair done, any of that. It was kind of implied, and it was never really an issue until way later down. So I didn't see it as a problem.
After she got comfortable.
Okay, so when you got there, what did you do? Did you look for work?
Actually, yes, immediately. Well, for a month, I went and looked for careers in my field. I just wanted to carry over my same job. I was doing well. Went for about a month before I realized I wasn't getting work. I was on all the major websites, everything, couldn't find anything, so I decided to join a temp agency for immediate work. That's the best thing I thought I could do for us, and I did it. I joined the temp agency, immediately got a job to work as an assistant on a campaign trail. The campaign had ended early, so it was about a month's time.
Political campaign?
Yes, but the temp agency actually contacted me one more time. They said, hey, we might have an opportunity. I told them I would get back to them.
What was the opportunity they offered?
It was to be an assistant in a very small firm. It just wasn't something I felt comfortable with.
What kind of firm?
For a real estate firm.
Okay.
And Your Honor, any opportunity for work would have helped.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
It just felt not good enough for me, but by the grace of God, that night I got an email for a position I applied for a family to help them interior design their house. They said it was going to be about a 2.5-year project to build their dream home. I was excited. I was elated, really. And so I took that job. About 3 months in, I sat down with the husband discussing creative idea, and he came to me, or during that discussion, it got a little heated, and we just didn't see creatively on the same level, and so he decided to let me go. So I was fired from that job, yes. Went home, and for the next couple months, maybe 3 months, I just felt really down and depressed. I didn't really have fire to do anything because I thought I had this amazing opportunity and it was
Which
taken
left
from under
all
me.
the stress and
So you were
finances
depressed
on me.
and you didn't do anything but lay around for a couple of months.
Yes.
Coming up on Justice with Judge Mablean.
Your Honor, I supported her for a year and a half.
You supported me, but
I
you stopped.
supported you for a year and a half.
You two argue with each other at home as much as you want, as long as you want, but you won't do it in my courtroom.
And later,
Now, the bar business is very simple. You hire hot-looking girls that bring in guys who want to drink. This is the formula.
Hot-looking girls that bring in guys
that want to drink.
Justice with Judge Mablean. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Megan Garner, who is suing Leila Kieran for $4,840.
So now you're tired of the fact that she's not working.
Yes, ma'am.
So did you ask her to move out?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
This is the love of my life. I'm not going to ask her to move out if she has nowhere to
You're
go and
asking
her
her for
finances.
$4,840 and she doesn't have any money.
What happened, Your Honor, is we were having such difficulty. At one point, we were really frustrated with each other, not even in a relationship. You wouldn't even be able to tell. So I went through her phone. I went into the bedroom. I saw her phone on the table, and I
And
went
if
through
she
text
had
messages.
a job, she'd have no need to
Okay,
go through my
I
phone.
don't want to go through all of that. She's still at the house.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't want to ask her to move out because she's the love of your life.
Exactly.
But
I've
you
tried
want to
that
ask her to pay you $4,840 with no job.
Your Honor, I supported her for a year and a half
But I don't
before I even
understand
started
the
to
rationale.
log
Because that was
our
the
agreement.
money.
I don't want her to move
I do
because
want
I
her
would
to
never
stay in
put
the
her
house.
out because she doesn't have a job. But I want her to pay me $4,840 even though she doesn't have a job. How's she supposed to do that?
By getting a job.
Did you
Oh,
give me...
that is just foolishness. It's asinine.
Your Honor, I supported her for a year and a half.
You supported me, but
Asinine.
you
I
stopped.
supported you for a year and a half.
You two argue with each other at home as much as you want, as long as you want, as loud as you want, but you won't do it in my courtroom.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
And you certainly won't talk over me. Now, what you're asking, how'd you get to $4,840 anyway?
We sat down about 6 months ago, 7 months ago at this point, and we had a conversation about the finances. I told her at that point that I was going to start logging her bills that she owed me, and that was half of the rent and half of the utilities. The $4,800 includes $900 for the last 5 months for rent and another $340 for utilities, and that's all. That doesn't include
now you want her to
entertainment,
pay you
hair,
for
nails.
5 months rent and utilities totaling $4,840. She doesn't have a job. You don't want her to move. So now she's going to add up another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many more months can she stay there?
Your Honor, I moved back.
Be quiet. I'm talking. How many more months is she supposed to stay there without working?
Your Honor, she's not on a time limit. I just needed help.
If she's not on a time limit, then what are you saying?
Logging the funds was just to give her a push in the right direction.
You
After
don't
a
walk
year and a
into
half
my
of taking
courtroom
care of
and
her,
you don't walk in here and use me as a way to push her in the right direction. You come in here when somebody owes you something based upon an agreement or whatever you all have discussed and agreed. There was no agreement for her to pay you. Are you still living there? I thought you moved.
No, Your Honor, I'm not. I moved about after 5 months. I moved in with my sister. I didn't see a relationship with us anymore. She was paying me
Well, why
rent.
doesn't she know you've moved?
She knows I've moved. I moved out of her house.
Did you
didn't
take
have
all
a
your
job.
stuff?
Yes, Your Honor.
So now that makes more sense. If she's moved and you want her to pay you for the last 5 months before she moved, that's one thing. But to say, I don't want her to move, I want her to stay there, she doesn't have a job, she may not work, there's no timetable for her to get a job, but now I want her to start charging her all of this, that's up to you all to do that. Was there an agreement for these 5 months?
No.
we sat down. I sat her down
What
and
do
I
you
let
mean
her
we
know.
sat down? Just because you sat down, it sounds like you did all the talking like you're doing now.
Well, I mean, I've been doing all the working. I've been doing all the bill things,
we
so I
sat
sat her
down
down and I let her know exactly what I needed from
Right.
her.
We sat down and I said, this is the way it's going to be, and this is what I'm going to charge you from now on is not an agreement. You dictating is not an agreement.
Your Honor, may I have...
No, I don't want to hear anymore. No. Judgment for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
I was there to be with you, not take care of you. Maybe in the future, you'll appreciate what I did.
I appreciated the love, but I didn't know that it came with a monetary value.
Coming up,
He just said, Chrissy, this isn't going to work out. And just look at you.
I'm a businessman, not a saint, okay?
Justice with Judge Mablean. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. Chrissy White is suing Thomas Rombe in the amount of $10,000. Ms. White claims Mr. Rombe fired her for not being pretty enough after an accident left her with a scar that altered her appearance. Mr. Rombe claims the plaintiff was horrible at her job and he fired her because she was a liability.
Chrissy White suing Thomas Rombe for $10,000 for what you call unlawful termination.
That's
All right, let me hear your story.
Well, Your Honor, I'm a hardworking college student. I first met Tom when I went to his bar with some friends. I saw they had a help wanted sign. I'm trying to get myself through college, so, you know, I saw it was a fun environment. I know bartenders and waitresses make good tips, so I thought, hey, might as well talk, see where I can get. He hired me pretty much on the spot, which I was really grateful for because I didn't have much, you know, waiting experience, but he gave me a chance and I ended up really loving this job. You know, and then I had this incident. I had an accident on my vacation. Unfortunately, I got in a really bad car accident and it caused this scar.
So how long were you out altogether?
A little more than a month. It was about 5 weeks. I felt rushed because I didn't want to lose my job because I really liked it. And he took one look at me and just...
When you went back to work, he looked at you and fired you? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
What did he say to you when he terminated you?
He just said, Chrissy, this isn't going to work out. Just look at you.
Oh, he did say, look at you.
Look at you.
I did not, Your Honor. I'm a businessman, not a saint, okay? I've owned Stars Mart Bar for 11 years. I've seen it all. I've seen them come and go. I usually hire college-age kids or 20 or 30-somethings because they have a great following, social media. They all come down and they drink at the bar. That's how I stay in business. I run a straightforward business, Your Honor. I've been in business for 11 years. Now, the bar business is very simple. You hire hot-looking girls that bring in guys who want to drink. The girls flirt with the guys.
That's the formula.
This is the formula.
Hot-looking girls that bring in guys
that want to
drink.
drink. Truth be told, I did hire her right on the spot. I said, okay, you're hired. She went to work the very next day. It was probably a mistake because I soon realized that she was a bit of a klutz, okay? She couldn't get a tray of drinks to the table without spilling half of it on her tray. I'm going to tell you something. I have a group of hardcore drinkers. They're day drinkers. They line up at my bar every day. They love it when Chrissy works because she'll go to the table with a gin and tonic, a rum and coke, and a couple beers, spill half of it on the tray. She comes back to the tray. My day drinkers line up shot glasses and they take the tray and they pour shots and they say, yeah, we're doing Chrissy shots, everybody.
Once again,
because they know she had spilled something.
Yeah, they're very funny, Chrissy.
he hired me knowing that I'd had very little
Okay,
experience.
but were you clumsy?
A little. Yes, I admit that. But that was on my first week.
I know, that's what
It
I'm
was
saying.
my first week, and you know what, the
Okay,
guest...
you answered my question.
Coming up,
What kind of notice did you give her before you terminated?
I spoke with her right there when she came back into work. I saw the way she looked.
Okay, and what did you offer her?
She can go-
Zero?
you're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Chrissy White, who is suing Thomas Rombe for wrongful termination.
Her hot skills are gone. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, Your Honor. The reason why she's being terminated is because of she missed work and she was not there for a couple times and late, and she has a lot of trouble.
I was
Now,
just as
She said she
offended
missed
by-
work after the car accident.
well, yeah, but I do have an email that is evidence that
Did she miss work before? And had you ever reprimanded her
Yes,
about
I
her
did.
work habits?
Yes, I
and
did.
anything like that prior to the car accident?
yes, that's in this,
And
that's in this email.
when she left with the car accident after the 6 months probation, did you ever say anything to her about I'm holding your job or you need to get back here or anything like that?
Well, when she called in at the end of 2 weeks being off for her vacation, she said that she's going to be out on sick leave for another 3 weeks. So that's 5 weeks, Your Honor. I had to fill her position. So I hired a new girl. The new girl worked out, much to my surprise, and that's all good. But me being the nice guy that I am, I told her, okay, Chrissy, when you're feeling better, you can come back to work.
He rushed me.
Okay. I don't know if he rushed you or not on a 6 month probationary job and you're out for 5 weeks. That's not a big rush. The issue before the court is, can he terminate you because your looks changed? Can he terminate you because you're no longer hot? Unlawful termination is on certain grounds. It's limited to certain grounds. Based upon sexual origin, based upon gender or sexual preferences, gender, race, and color. All right? I don't know of a law that says based upon looks. Because in certain professions, looks are very important. And that's a factor that's related to the job. And if it's a job-related matter, then there is justifiable grounds. That's one thing. Then secondly, we're in a state that says, I can terminate you at will. An employee can terminate at will without giving you any justification or any reason, therefore. Just like, I don't want you anymore. I can terminate you. But when that happens, you have to give reasonable notice, and you have to do some type of compensation. So there's my issue. What kind of notice did you give her before you terminated?
I spoke with her right there when she came back into work. I saw the way she looked.
Okay, and what did you offer her?
Zero? She can go collect unemployment, Your Honor. She's terminated, so I'm not going to stand in the way of her unemployment.
Judge Mablean's verdict when Justice with Judge Mablean returns. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean.
So have you applied for unemployment?
I have not.
Get your unemployment benefits, but I think you can also give her at least 2 weeks pay. I mean, give her time to go look for a job. You call her today and say, don't come back. That's kind of rude. I think, how often was she paid? By the month, by the week, by the day? How often did you pay?
Well,
what was her pay period?
Bi-monthly.
You paid her bi-monthly?
Yeah.
So give her a bi-monthly salary. And you would be eligible also for to collect unemployment because you were terminated for cause. You didn't walk away from the job. So judgment for the plaintiff in the form of compensation of a bi-monthly salary, and then you go apply for unemployment benefits. All right? That's the judgment of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay a bi-monthly salary to the plaintiff.
I loved working at your bar, and I brought you business, and you fired me because of my appearance.
Chrissy, you're young now. You're in college. You don't understand business. This was never personal. It's just business.
This has been a